one of you was there, right? Anybody else? Okay, you were here. Okay, so just briefly, since you were there, and then a few of you, when we talk about balance, I often come back to this teaching of balance in which part of our life, kan? Balancing our time with studies, balancing our role as a daughter, as a wife, as a mother, as a teacher, as whatever you're working, balancing your role as a member of community, balancing your finances, balancing your social life. All of those things, as the, not hadith, but the saying of Ali radiallahu anhu, Sahabi Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ali talks about, sorry, that was something else, but that's also about balance. What Ali says is, strive for dunya as if you will live forever. Strive for akhirah as if you will die tomorrow. So that comes back, I feel, when that hadith comes back to me when I'm reflecting on balance. It's not about, oh, just tak apalah, just duduk and mengaji for hours and hours a day and then not take care of my other responsibilities in life. Because as our intention shifts in our life, our whole life is ibadah. At the end of the day, what we want to prioritize is this sense of holistic well-being. And Rasulullah SAW taught us this dua when his uncle Al-Abbas came and asked him to teach me a dua, ya Rasulullah SAW. And Rasulullah SAW said, oh my uncle, say, Allahumma inni as'aluka al-afiyah. Allahumma inni as'aluka al-afiyah. And sometimes we want like long, complicated answers or frameworks and stuff like that. And then we realize that in our sunnah, most of Rasulullah's teaching was actually very short. Al-Jawad al-Kalim was his gift from Allah, right? To be able to be brief and concise, but to have a lot in that briefness. So this dua, Al-Abbas came back also and he was like, come on, there's got to be more, right? Like, there's got to be some bigger thing. And Rasulullah said, my dear uncle, ask Allah for afiyah, for wallahi, you cannot be given anything better than afiyah. And in the commentary of this hadith, afiyah is talked about as a sense of wellness and flourishing and completeness. There's a lot of definitions that come in afiyah, which to me, sometimes it helps me to look at it back and when we talked about our total health and total well-being, where we want afiyah in all these aspects of our life, our emotional life, our physical life, our spiritual life, financial life. And so when I make dua and I ask Allah for us, for all of us to have afiyah, it's in like all of that. I want it in all of those aspects that Rasulullah has provided for us through this dua. So I also want to remind us when we feel imbalanced. So I like this image because it talks about when you say life gives you lemons and then you make lemonade. The balance is usually okay when things are kind of going smooth, and usually when you're going through a bit of a difficult state in life is when you're feeling a little bit more imbalanced. So it's important for us to be able to be self-aware when we're trying to understand which part of our life is imbalanced. If we are not able to kind of self-aware and self-diagnose about that, then it's going to be difficult for us to kind of strike out that balance again. Before I proceed, can I just check the people who just come in, sisters? How many were in the mental health session with me? Ada, okay. So for the two of you, I apologize for a bit of repetition, but I wanted to kind of incorporate the similar concept and mindset juga. So working on our check engine light is what I like to call it. So I think since our group is a bit small, we can maybe do a bit of exercise. Let's finish with the slides and then we'll work together. Like, do you notice what helps you figure when you are having a check engine light moment? Macam dalam mobil kan, in our car the green light comes on, the red light or the oil light. So when are you feeling like spiritually low? When are you feeling physically low? What something is off balance. Let's have a conversation about that when I come down. And the other, and I say all this also that because it is in our sunnah. Sometimes people say, oh, this is like modern psychology stuff, like you should just make dua and then your life will be balanced, or you should just, whatever struggle you're having, there's a dua that Allah and Rasulullah SAW has taught us, which is true. We have many duas. Islam is so rich. Doa masuk toilet, keluar toilet, doa kereta, mobil, doa tidur, doa bangun, doa makan, doa pakai baju, anything we have doa. And at the same time, Rasulullah SAW's teachings was very much about our soul and our spirit and the Islam within us and that connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It wasn't just about the physical rituals, it was about embodying those rituals in our life in a way that spiritually nourishes us. It's about, at the end of the day, our fitrah is our soul. Our soul was alive before we had this jasad, our body. Our soul will be alive after our jasad ends. And we don't have this body anymore. So our being, that soul, is our real being sebenarnya. And so this relationship that we have as Allah is not so much about what is physically around us or what is physically in us, but at the same time, this dunya is a part of our akhirah, because this is where we are now. It's also inaccurate for us to say we just focus on the akhirah. The truth is, this dunya is feeding our akhirah, right? So this balance that I'm trying to work on has to come from here. This is what I have now. This is what Allah has given me the opportunity to work with before I get to the akhirah. And one of the really, really, really powerful tools is that inner awareness. Through working with our muraqabah, our tadabbur, our tafakkur on our daily lives, and what are the things that we want to reflect on in our own journey of self-improvement. And we'll have more conversation around that. I think when we're coming together, that will be more relevant. But for each of us, it's different. For each of us, it's different. On Monday, we're going to do, not Monday, Sunday, Monday kan, the workshop. Monday, we have a workshop on goal settings for 2024, 2023, not yet. Goal settings for 2024. And in that workshop, we're going to do a bit more tangible aspects of looking at those different aspects of our life. Yang total health tadi tu, some of you just came in, we're kind of exploring this total health and well-being afia concept. So looking at different aspects of our lives and crafting goals on Monday around that. And it can be small, like I'm not huge about, oh, New Year resolution, buatlah satu list 40 goal dan satu benda hampa tak buat pun. The point is more like, what are the really few important things that we want to improve in our balancing our life in this coming year? And yeah. Love yourself? Yes. Oh, you're the moderator. Welcome. Welcome, Puan Moderator. Kita dah mula. We're supposed to start at 11. So I barely, sorry, I hold a second. I didn't receive the instruction earlier that we were supposed to just delay everything. So we have started, and some of you did come in between, and apparently a lot more people are coming now. So tak bakhair, alhamdulillah ala kulli hal. This is part of what we are learning also, resilience and balance. Sometimes you plan a certain thing a certain way in all our lives and all our children's schooling or where we want to live or our partner, husband, apa issue, and then Allah's like, no, I want establish your balance with the changes that come in. So coming back, we were looking at the concept of total wellness, total health, and the dua of afia, and kind of exploring the ways that we can focus on balance in our lives. So I want to invite us to stay on this section for a little bit, inshallah. Kalau ladies nak come to this side, we have a lot more chairs on this side. Just teruskan aja. So I came up with this INVEST acronym because it helps me to remember, and maybe it will be helpful for you also. Some of the habits that you start in this period of life, doesn't matter whether you're in your younger youth or youthful, alhamdulillah, but cultivating a new habit is not always easy. And in the time of trying to balance our role at home, balance our role in community, and then trying to learn more about ourselves in that process as well, I invite us to reflect on these 6 points. Number 1, the I is intention and attention both. So intention, we know Islamically very important. The first hadith is also about setting our intention. Allah rewards us for intention. And I want to bring also tying the intention to attention. When we make an intention for something inside, we are committing that our attention outside should also focus on that as well. Of course, we can say, tak apalah, at least I done make niat, but I didn't really take action to do something. At least I made niat. Okay, khair, alhamdulillah, at least you made the niat. And how do we want to elevate ourselves to the next level, right? We want to be able to also put that niyat into action. Islam is a deen of intention and action. It's intention and attention outside as well. But I really believe in the power of intention coupled with dua, which we will talk through next. What have we set our intention for, and then what are we making? How are we applying our whole selves and our dua into that intention? And Allah opens the paths. Al-Fatah opens the paths even when we didn't see that those paths were available. Another aspect of this work, study, life, parenting, worship, balance is the relationship portion. The social aspect, when we talk about our well-being and knowing ourselves and knowing each other, that relationship with Allah, that personal, private relationship that you have with Allah, that nobody can take away. That relationship comes in, one is as a maintenance. So there's always a level of maintenance minimum that we're trying to live as we go through our lives. And another part that comes often, and which is when often people come and look for chaplains or counselors or ustazah or whatever, is the time when there's something difficult happening, kan? I shared in the earlier group that even just these 2 days that we've been here, I've had, I think, 4 people come to me. One saying that their child has attempted suicide. Ini di Muktamar. Not here, but coming to tell me in the Muktamar that their child had attempted suicide at home a few months ago. And another person had said that their child was talking about suicide and they went to the masjid to try and get help, but they couldn't get help and they don't know what to do. Another person was talking about marriage struggles, and she herself is older and doesn't really feel like she wants to continue with her life, and the children, and never mind, maybe the children are older anyway, it's too difficult. Everything just feels too difficult, and these are not things that we can solve mostly, especially not in 2 minutes talking outside the dining hall. So these relationships, research shows, and then also our deen shows, Islam is a deen of community. That's why we're here. And the community doesn't have to be a community of 1,000 people, 15,000 people. The community can be a community of one. You have one person at a certain time in your life that you're able to kind of lean on for something difficult that you're going through, and that person is able to be there with you and for you, or you are able to be that person to somebody, and you can change someone's life. You can transform someone's life. So I think, I'm not sure why most of you came to this workshop. Were you interested in the loving self, loving others aspect? Were you struggling with the other part, which is the balance of your roles at home and community? I feel like in a way those are different, but they're also very connected. When these aspects of our life are balanced, we are able to be more compassionate. We are able to be more rahmah to ourselves and to other people around us as well. So coming back to the end for nurturing relationships, how much time or effort, how are we doing it? How are we nurturing it? Are we only nurturing relationships that is like just friend, just to makan-makan, arisan, and then go shopping, and then take our kids together or do studies together, and then that's it? Are we nurturing real bonds where we can be vulnerable with each other, where people know that we're going through something difficult with our family, with our children, and that they're not judging us? They're not judging us, because that is another big struggle that our community faces when people are trying to help, quote unquote, each other, but they're helping by judging, whether you're judging on externally or you're judging in your mind and then talking to somebody else about it. Or itu kan dia kan anak dia gini. How is that helping anybody? That when we do that to each other. I talked in the other session, I don't think I have it here, but I really love that hadith where a Muslim is somebody who Rasulullah said that a Muslim is someone who others are safe with, safe from our tongue, safe from our hearts. And as we love ourselves, we want to feel that safety with somebody. We want to live in a community that we're also able to give that sense of safety and rahmah and comfort and love to our community members, loving others, loving ourselves, the sunnah of our Nabi, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And that is that definition of a Muslim in that hadith. And okay, I'll proceed for now, and then I think we'll raise this again in conversation, inshallah. The other V that I have here is valuing our time of salah, and especially valuing Fridays if we can, especially if we have male members of our family or our siblings or our fathers, brothers, sons, husbands. I know it's not always easy to schedule our life with salah, but try, especially like some of the younger looking-ish ones. If you're in college, you're scheduling your classes, you're scheduling and you're preparing already. You know you're going to be class at a certain part of campus, but Dhuhr is going to be in the middle of the day. How are you going to pray? Where are you going to pray? Don't make it difficult. Rasulullah SAW, the whole world is our sajadah, the whole world is our masjid. We can pray anywhere. So learn the fiqh. So along with the relationship, building that close relationship with Allah, like I want to maintain my salah because this nourishes me. This is my opportunity to talk to Allah. And I can talk to Allah all the time, but this salah is this private conversation that Allah wants me to have with Him 5 times a day. So that relationship. And then relationship with your community and your friends who are supportive of this. Even if you have non-Muslim friends, are you comfortable enough with your self-love and your self-confidence to be able to be like, hey, I want to step aside and pray. I have friends who will like protect me while I pray, or they'll be like, don't you have to pray now? Like what time, where do you need to go? So nurturing those kinds of relationships that will sustain us. And they don't have to be Muslim. I'm saying sometimes people say, oh, you should only be friends with Muslim then. No. Do that for each other. Whatever that your non-Muslim friends also need support with in their relationship with their faith or with their family, then we're there for them. The other part is nurturing relationships with our friends and mentors. If, say, we are women in the group of like middle of our lives, and we're maybe going through different phases of our lives, maybe some are going through parents meninggal dunia, passing away, some are going through health crisis sendiri, midlife, you're discovering you might have cancer or somebody you know has cancer. Some are going through struggles with children, some are going through divorce. I went through divorce myself some years ago, and the death of my father. So nurturing those relationships with people that you're able to go through these life journeys with, beyond, and that you are able to be vulnerable with. And sometimes it takes you sharing first. I've had so many times people come to me and they don't even tell their best friend, for example, that their child is going through, for example, mental health crisis or something. If you can't talk to your best friend about this, why? Shame. Shame. I malu. What kind of friend is this then, if they're not able to be the one that you can even talk to? I'm not saying that person's not your friend. I'm just saying maybe you can try taking that risk, because sometimes kita yang malu and afraid to share, and people don't know what we're going through. But if one person shares, next thing you know, the whole room of 5 people all have the same problem and all can share together, and you are stronger together. We, the Ummah, is stronger together than rather trying to go through these things alone. And that comes back to the ability to love for them what is good for them, and then also loving ourselves enough to have the confidence to share when we're going through difficult time. Not just loving ourselves only when things are great. Bila lah things are great, yeah. Most of the time, not really anyway, kan. Life is just sort of like, it's a little bit up and then down and then up and down. So, can we sustain that loving of ourselves because Allah loves us in all those times, up and down? Allah Al-Wadud, the source of all love, Allah Ar-Rahman. Even when we don't love ourselves, Allah loves us. And how? Maybe we believe that in theory. Maybe we believe that, okay, Quran says, Nabi says, but do we really feel that? I talked to a patient many times actually, not just once. People who are like, oh, maybe I have cancer because Allah is angry at me or something. Okay, tak apa, kita process the different reasons that we have difficulties in life, kan? Whether it is we understand the theory of it, whether Allah is purifying our sins, atau Allah is elevating us in Jannah, or Allah wants us to go through this to experience certain things that we're supposed to learn and grow. We know all the theory, and we know Allah is forgiving. Tapi do we feel Allah forgives us? I had a teenager who was driving a car. He had an accident and his friend was in the car and his friend died. So he was like, is God going to forgive me? Of course, that person punya guilt tu dah habis-habis guilty lah kan. Is Allah going to forgive me? And we talked about that. Like what does Islam require of forgiveness? Can you seek forgiveness? You try to repair whatever mistake that we did. And at the end of the day, di atas tangan orang tu lah, orang tu nak forgive ke tak forgive pun, we have to be able to let go at some point. If we've tried our best and the person is not able to forgive at that time, it's okay. They need to go through their journey. It's not wajib on them to forgive us also. That's another teaching of our deen that sometimes people misuse when we talk about spiritual abuse or spiritual bypassing, and we want people to get to a certain level spiritually, because reason Islam says this. Islam says this ujian is happening for a certain reason, so you should terima aja. But we forget the process. We're all human and we all have a different, unique journey to get to our destination. And the truth is, you're not going to get to the destination. Destination Jannah nanti after we die. Right now, every moment, there's something that each of us is going through that is at a different
face, even if it's the same test. I was in a refugee camp in Lebanon with Syrian refugees. These were widows. They had lost their husband. They were bald because of chemical bombing. Their hair dah tak ada. We were in the private room, all women, no men. So ada yang buka dia punya hijab and they showed me like rambut pun dah tak ada because effect of the chemical bombing. And so people had gone through like similar tests, but I had one lady who was like genuinely, not just saying macam, oh Alhamdulillah, you know, ujian from Allah. She was genuinely, okay, trying to help the program, trying to help other widows, and then trying to share her experience with what she received. Or she said, oh, that organization dia bagi certain kind of social aid, education, sponsorship untuk anak-anak. So she recommend that other ladies come and try and apply, get some additional funding from that non-NGO or non-profit. She tried to tolong masak-masak and share at the refugee camp. She did things to help maintain her resilience and to also contribute back to her community, kan? And I had another lady who like went through the same life thing, and she just kept saying, people don't understand what we're going through. Okay, listening, fair. You know, those women, half of them are not even really widows. Their husbands are alive, but they're in prison. So technically, they are not widows. So they shouldn't receive the help that the organization was giving specifically to widows. Okay, but still their husbands are in prison atau like missing. They might not be dead. So technically, they're not widows, but they also. So there was just a lot of negativity coming from this person who went through like similar struggles as other people in the room. And I really reflected a long time juga on that case, macam, how do we build resilience walaupun we're going through the same test? What qualities, how? Macam kenapa lain kan? Some people okay, some people tak. And it goes up and down. So in that time, it was difficult for me to listen to her because I kept thinking, why are you victimizing yourself all the time? We all have difficult things that we go through. Your friend is going through the same ujian as you, in my eyes. But how come she can be channeling it like in a healthy way to help her able to function and to support others? I didn't say that out loud, of course, and I've since had a lot more training and knowledge and understanding. But it is helpful to come back to that self-awareness bit because we don't want, I'm not judging her, I'm just saying I don't want to be a person that's stuck in a victim mindset when I'm going through difficult times, prolonged. Victim mindset sekejap tu tak apa, normal for it to come, for you to feel, I can't balance this, it's too difficult, I don't even like myself anymore, I love myself, apa lagi. So that's fine, there can be phases of that. But is that your baseline? Is that your all the time? The world is out to get me, Allah is out to test me, everything is meant to be difficult, dunia ni tempat miserable lah, tunggulah jannah baru nak happy. That was not what Rasulullah SAW taught us. As Muslims are, I won't use the word happy. Happy tu emotion yang datang sekejap-sekejap. The contentment, the peace of mind and the peace of heart, that is the Islam. That comes from our Islam, the surrender, the salam. That, I feel, is the baseline that we want to try and achieve. And then things happen once in a while. Okay, happy sekejap, and then down balik for whatever reason, then up. But it's not a major roller coaster. It's sort of, you're kind of going up and down, but you're on a steady base. And so that self-awareness and relationship with Allah and relationship with self is important for us to be able to be in tune with that. Is it me or are they blowing hot air? Ya Allah. Ujian betul. Macam okay, 5 minutes. So we start late but we have to finish early. Okay. Question answer. Okay, yes. So easy. I put easy adhkar and dua because sometimes we're busy depending on different phases in our life. Some of you may be college students, some of you may be mothers sending kids to school, back from school, working a job, working multiple jobs, or studying, taking care of sick parents. So focusing on the easy part, like what are adhkar and dua that are easy for you to incorporate in our daily life. And in the process of our theme of love, look for the du'as that talk about love, that call to Al-Wadud. Ask Al-Wadud to help us feel that love of Al-Wadud, Allah, the source of all love, and coming in from ourselves. Write reminders maybe in your phone or in your phone alarm or notebooks or in your car. I used to have post-it in my car where I had whatever zikir that I'm trying to memorize or that I'm trying to improve or that I'm trying to practice. I put on my fridge ke, bathroom mirror ke, doa on when you're dressing, Allahumma ahsanta khulqi fa hassin khuluqi. So different du'as that I'm trying to memorize, I literally just put them around. So make it easy for me to incorporate them into my life. And that's something I continue from young until even now. And I think that helps also with children who feel sometimes that these things may be difficult. So my approach to working with younger kids is often what's easy for them, do that first. And of course, we're always trying to improve different things in our deen. But even Rasulullah SAW said that when he was given multiple choices, he would choose what is easy. And Allah also told Rasulullah SAW to speak to us, to matching with what is our need, matching with what the people need. Come to people with issues that address them and their need. Come to people with gentleness, with rifq. So come using what is easy first. If you're working on one thing, then just start with that little improvement bit by bit or whatever you're already at. Seeking knowledge, I'm not going to talk much about that. I think that's something that this group is already doing on some regular basis. But I would include that as like a regular way to maintain balance. The intellectual health, spiritual health, intellectual health. We always say, oh, Islam first revelation is Iqra. Okay, Iqra, read, recite, seek knowledge. But sometimes we don't do as much of that as we get older. And that's okay. Maybe priorities shift. And there's other things as younger children you need to take care of. But be a little selfish with your self-love and your self-time schedule too. What's the you time that you want to rest? Or what's the you time that you want to seek knowledge? Choose topics that are interesting to you. I'm so disappointed and surprised and confused how people are getting married without seeking knowledge about marriage. Like you will go for taekwondo training or guitar training or whatever kursus, financial planning training. But then when it's time to get married, it's like, I often recommend to people, why don't you try premarital counseling or attend some courses about marriage? And they're like, well, I know what's marriage. Like, I don't need to learn about marriage. Like my parents were married. I saw them. Yeah, no. So whatever we're going through in life, maybe I'll talk about that more tonight with the youth ladies, the marriage part, preparing for marriage. Study, learn a little bit of different things that you're trying to improve. Learn from people that you like and you admire, you can follow by reading, by video, whatever. I have the last one, talk to Allah and Tai Chi Shaitan. Does anybody know what Tai Chi is? Yes, what's Tai Chi? Like, energy, Chinese martial arts movements, there's some sort of movements of this and that. So I like embodied practices. So I invite often for us to talk to Allah. When I say talk to Allah, we talked about dua and salah and namaz, and you know all that already. But I really want to encourage, especially people who feel disconnected from Allah, use this method. Just talk to Allah. Like you would talk to, kalau tak ada friend yang you rasa you can trust ke apa ke, then talk to Allah about whatever you want to talk about. Don't try to plan, oh, should I make dua? Your dua is your dua. Your salah, yes, jalan. As you're walking around, cultivate that, Ya Allah, cantiknya this flower. Okay, say that, Ya Allah. And in like a feeling of conversation, Ya Allah, this flower is so cool. There's like 7 shades of pink in it. You made it so awesome. Just practice that muscle and do it especially around children. that is how that relationship gets cultivated. That is how you feel that personal, private. Yes, he is everybody's Rabb, but he's my Rabb. My Rabb. You have that connection with your Rabb that nobody can take away. But what is there to even take away if you're not cultivating it? So outside of the salah, outside of the dua, find ways to talk to Allah. And sometimes I have, when we come back to relationships too, I have a buddy when I was working on like improving my tahajjud and all that. One of my best friends, an ustazah in Malaysia, we check each other on tahajjud. So we'll just like WhatsApp and be like, today I woke up and then I just talked to Allah in bed and then I went back to sleep. I didn't go take wudu and I didn't do salat. I just did tahajjud from bed. So we kind of like check with each other because we had a goal, what is the goal that we want to improve? And then we have that nurturing relationship that we check each other. And then, so because we're also talking about self-compassion and self-love and having rahmah in our journey to improve, she might say something like, so tak apa, you did the Surah Al-Baqarah, the last 2 ayat tu, ya Allah. Junubikum, well, before tu, baru tadi. No. God, I read it every day and then now I blur. No. The ayat where praise and worship Allah whether you're standing or sitting or lying down. Last 2 ayat of Imran. Or when you're lying down or sitting down or lying down. Jadi Allah has given us already, like, you can think of me and praise me in any of those positions, kan? So my friend will joke, so tak apa, today you're fulfilling the ayat, the ala junubikum. So while you're lying down, you didn't even get out of bed for tahajjud, but at least you made dua and zikir while you're lying down and then you went back to sleep. So that just cultivating relationships where you can improve together with each other in a very honest way, because otherwise who can you trust and support each other through struggles like that? Or I will do what I say, the Tai Chi Chaitan. I work, especially with youth, they really, really appreciate this and they practice, and then I hear from them, they come back to me and they say, I Tai Chi Chaitan today. I was like, what happened? I wanted to pray dah lambat, my friend was having a party, tapi I prayed dulu juga. I Tai Chi Shaitan, I prayed juga, and then I went to my friend's party. Okay lah. At least you prayed before you went to the party. But that physical, I make them do a movement, do something. And I do that too sometimes. I just feel like Shaitan, I'm like, shut up, astaghfirullah. I say astaghfirullah, and I'm like, just get out, go. So if that works for you, do something physical. Don't just like feel astaghfirullah in hati. Use your body. Our salah is using our whole body in sujud, in prostration. So use our body for other things as well. Okay, we can do some Q&As. We can have activity. What do you all want? You want to do some questions, some discussion? You want to do... Some of them have done this activity, but most of you haven't. Like an empathy video.
Yeah, so sister, I will try to moderate. So thank you and apologies everyone. There was a delay in the other session, so I didn't get a chance to introduce our speaker earlier. Chaplain Sakina, she maybe just a little bit so that everybody knows. She specialized in spirituality in community, healthcare, and disaster relief. She has a master's degree in Islamic studies and interreligious chaplaincy from the Graduate Theological Union, Berkeley, California, and she also completed a clinical pastoral education residency and fellowship at Stanford Hospital, California. Her advanced diploma in Islamic studies was awarded by Aris University, Kuala Lumpur, and her undergraduate study in civil and environmental engineering was from Northwestern University. And she's also advisor for I Love Quran Tahfiz and Khadijah Learning Center in Malaysia. So mashallah. So mashallah, sister, thank you so much for sharing your experience, your expertise in how to balance. And, you know, as we all know, we as women, we are challenged with balancing every day. And we are challenged that we need to spend quality time for our family. But at the same time, you know, we also have to be a resilient member of society, right? Well, how we balance that. We have to spend time between our children, educate them, for those of you who have children, but at the same time, we have to contribute and be a more proactive member of the society. So Sister Sakina, Chaplain Sakina has already give some of the tips earlier. So the abbreviation was INVEST. The first one is you have to go back to your intention and attention, and then N is nurture your relationship and knowing yourself and each other. V, value your time of prayers, and E, enjoy dua, and then S, yeah, and the S is seek for knowledge, and T, talk to Allah. I think those are some of the tips that Sister Sakina conveyed to us. But before I go to the Q&A session, maybe we could just sit up. Everybody has been like sitting, right? Let's just stand up, everybody. And, you know, as you know, like according to Hadith, there are 7 people that will be in the shade of Allah in the judgment day later on. And one of them is people who love each other because of Allah. So for that spirit, let's say, talk and greet people in the right of you and the left of you. For those of you who don't know each other, maybe introduce yourself, your name, embrace ourselves, and inshallah, because of that, then we showed our love to each other, and we would be in one of those people who are in the shade of Allah in the judgment day. Yeah, mashallah. Okay. Okay, and so that, like, you could sit down again. Okay, and since we don't have much time, we could accept 2 questions from the audience. You could just state your name, which state you come from, and your question. Okay. Yes. Yes, please. You could come. Yes. You could go over there. Maybe so people could hear. Yeah. We could have like maybe 3 questions, 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Maybe we'll just take all the questions first, and then.
Okay. Yeah. Assalamualaikum, Chaplain Sakina. My name is Rina Saptaria Tenore. I'm from Massachusetts. I really appreciate for your time in advocating this time about self-care, and I appreciate your, sharing story about your marital divorce. I want to tell you myself, I myself divorced about 3 years ago, and it's been hard, because my children they're not living with me. But alhamdulillah, I have close sister that make me feel like I'm supported. Like you said, have friends that you can trust. My struggle is like divorce. I think in our community is something that is taboo. Especially like going to your mosque. I would like to explore my social and my iman, etc. But whenever I go to a mosque or my old mosque, I feel reluctant because sister who's like, oh, where's your, they are, when they share a story about your children, they're like, why they're not with you? And they become so judgmental. So I found like going to a mosque is not something that I want to go anymore. So I rather pray at home. But I really need that social connection, at the same time. So that's my struggle. It's like, how do I see the mosque is something that is like challenging. I see it as something depressing when I go to mosque because people were like, "Oh, husband, your kid's not here. And can we just not talk about it? I want to go and pray." So that's why I only go to mosque once a year during Ramadan because no one talked to me and like, okay, I just want to pray and do my, I don't want to share about that. So how do I like my close friends, they already know me. They don't ask anymore. I feel safe with them. But some people who know my kids when they were small, that's just like, stop it. Like they look at me like, why are you not here? Why are you not kid? And they just walk away. I feel like so judged. They look me with disgust. So I'm not saying I'm not in this room, but so that's how do I overcome that without, I want to say that, oh, I want to be there, like without being judged. So how do I do that?
And baru sudah. Then the second one, maybe we'll just get all the questions first. Yes.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
My name is Rosita. I'm from Boston. I am considered Ibu Camat in here, but not really anymore. I put my head down now. Anyhow, I didn't have any question, nor do I have uh, uh, concern, but I wanted to say the comment that you had mentioned when you wake up at night, you remember Allah, even though you are not praying, nor are you getting up, but you praise Allah. And there is the dua that if I could mention it now, is it possible? Thank you. Thank you. If you get up in the middle of the night and you don't even do praying or what have you, you can read this, La ilaha illallah wahdahu la syarika lah, hamdu, wa huwa ala kulli syai'in qadir. Alhamdulillah, subhanallah, la wala haula wala quwata illa billah. Allahumma firli. That's it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Pastor Rosita, for sharing that. And then the sister, that one. Yes, maybe you could.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi
Can you please state your name?
Yeah. My name is Yuni Silvina, and I'm come. Actually, it's really hard for me to share this, but I really want to know that because it's been a long time in my mind. I have no idea how to forget my past. The person who brought me to this life used to tell me, I don't like you. Because I look different from my sister. And now they like me and they love me because I'm in America. I mean, the person who brought me to this life, I should have told it, right? Then I keep praying to Allah, and I know I love them because what can I do to forget? Because when I look at myself in the mirror, I keep remembering their words to me. I think that I'm sorry.
Thank you so much, sisters,
you like to share?
for all your.
Would you like to share a hug? Let's wait for Adhan. But while we wait for Adhan, would you like Rina to share a hug? Whoever been told to get to the response. That was part of the response. That embodied love and care and compassion that we have for each other is part of the response. And I think it's a big part of the gift of our deen and our sunnah. For the first question, Sister Rina. It just brought up a lot of anger actually for me, because it is very unfortunate that the masjid becomes a place that people feel not welcome. And for whatever reason, whether divorce or they look different or they dress different, or they're new to Islam and they don't know certain things. And I have really not much to say about that, because it really just pisses me off. And it is completely against what the hadith that I talked about earlier. The masjid does not belong to one person. It does not belong to the committee of the masjid. It belongs to the ummah. It belongs to Allah. That means everybody that wants to come in. However they're dressed, whatever they look like, whatever their stories are, whatever differences they have, they are welcome. It is a safe space. So I'm sorry that you have to go through that. And I think when I was I'm not saying my experience is the same as yours, because it's not. But when I was going through divorce also, I feel like some people, they're asking questions because genuinely they're curious. So it's not malicious. They're not intending harm. They're just kind of curious, like, oh, what happened with your divorce arrangement? Like, didn't you just get married, or this, or if you've been married a long time, why now? Where are the kids? Or who gets the house? Are you moving away? Like, they just have all these questions, partly just innocent curiosity. This comes back also to the appreciation of self-awareness. When we are aware of our impact of our words to ourselves, we are also aware of our impact of our words to somebody else. If I'm not sure, if I ask you something, it could be sensitive, then I should just shut up. Wallahi. Daripada we say something and we cause harm, baik diam. And baik we just be like, I don't know what you're going through. It might be difficult. I'm not sure, but what do you need? I'm here for you. Or if you want to talk, I'm here for you. Things like that, the way we respond to others who are going through difficult things. If they want to share the details, that's up to them, however they want to share. So I lost some friends in the divorce. I became closer to some other friends who were really genuinely there for me. And I lost some friends who felt like, oh, you guys were not trying hard enough. You guys should try harder. You and your husband, both of you should have tried harder. Islamically, you shouldn't divorce yet. You should try harder. How do you know what we've tried or not tried? This is our relationship. And the divorce has happened anyway. That thing is in the past kan. Jadi qadarnya sudah diqadar, sudah divorce pun. That was Allah's qadar. So who are you questioning the qadar? And you're not asking in a way to reflect. You're kind of like judging. Like you said, it's a judging. It's a different angle. So I had to learn also to protect my energy. I didn't have much energy when I was going through my divorce. I felt tired. I felt I only want to be around people who are supportive. I was also aware, like Islamically, there was also a time that shaitan's going to be disturbing me. I'm feeling down emotionally, mentally, spiritually. So what encourages my own self-nourishment that I can maintain myself? And I would say, in that specific example, if you can go, just keep going to the masjid and do your thing and ignore people, I would recommend that. If you can't and it hurts, then don't go. Find another masjid. I'm sorry. And that masjid, wallahi, I hope there is a time that you are able to go again, or talk to certain people in the masjid who might be aware. And sometimes I feel we take things a certain way. Orang tak tahu. People don't know that we're hurt, or people don't know that they upset us. So it is also our duty as a Muslim to give that person opportunity by being fair enough. Like, I'm not sure if you're aware. Can I say something? Okay, yeah. The way you approach me or the way you make me feel makes me hurt or makes me doesn't want to go to the masjid. or makes me feel I'm not welcome here. I just needed to share that with you. Maybe they genuinely, wallahi, like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I didn't realize. They really didn't realize. Or maybe they're like, oh, well, why don't, can they have an attitude or whatever? Fine, then that's something else. But maybe if you feel that you want to do that, try to genuinely, we're not fighting with them, but just to say like, what you are saying hurts me and makes me don't want to go to the halakah, don't want to go to the masjid. If I'm that person, I would be so terkejut juga, like, I didn't realize, I thought I was showing care. I thought I just wanted to ask how you're doing. I didn't know this is like causing you pain. I'm so sorry, please come. Could be no issue, or could be an issue and they are having an issue about it, then call me. I'll come to your masjid and talk about divorce. Which I think we need of more anyway. I proposed to Muktamar, we should have a session for divorcees and blended marriages and stepmother, step-parent, all that.
Inshallah.
But they said not this year, so I said, okay, I do whatever you want. Next year, I'll propose that again. Which, there's more of them. Okay. Number 2, Ibu Rosita, thank you so much for the dua. Yes, when I was giving the example, that was the dua I had in mind, and we say that, so take note, la ilaha illallah, hilang balik. Can you just maybe share it, and then we can project it on the screen? La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah, lahul mulku wa lahul hamdu wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. Subhanallah walhamdulillah wa la ilaha illallah wallahu akbar. I end with astaghfirullah. I'm not sure if there's astaghfirullah there. I do add an astaghfirullah. And then I go to sleep some nights, but usually I try to wake up for tahajjud when I can. So the other question, man says, Sister Safina, where were you? Yeah. So to be told by someone who gave birth to you or people who raised you that they don't love you for whatever reason, you say it was because you don't look like your sibling? Okay. So I just offered the hug because I don't know what that feels like. And I will not say I know what that feels like. But I will also say I'm not surprised, because I'm so sad that the more that I'm in this field of like spiritual counseling, I hear these stories sometimes yang like tak masuk akal. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, what do you mean the parent tells their child, I don't love you? Why? Because you're this gender, you're not that gender. One person recently came to me about that. She was pregnant with a girl, and the mother said, oh, you're going to have a girl. I hope you don't feel like how I felt when I was pregnant with you. And she was like, what? I think that was the way her mother was trying to apologize, but I don't. I was like, okay, that brought up something else. And I cannot fathom sometimes, that kind of pain and the impact that will have. And nothing I am going to say is going to be able to fix that for you and the years of feeling unloved by your parents. But you specifically asked about forgiveness, kan? First, I will say in our sunnah, Rasulullah, yes, it's important to forgive, but also you don't have to. If you're not ready, if it feels forced, if it's not ikhlas, then it's okay. You need to process whatever you're going through. Even when Wahshi killed Hamzah radiallahu anhu in battle, Rasulullah, yes, Rasulullah later forgave him, but he did not want to see Wahshi. He didn't want to see Wahshi. He was so hurt by what happened. And as long as we are not causing harm to somebody, not forgiving somebody for having done something to us that is hurtful for us or something wrong to our family or whatever, it's not, I think I'll talk softer, it's not, I'm not going to use haram halal, I don't like to say haram halal.
Thank you, Chaplain Sakina. I think we are running out of time, but Chaplain Sakina, would you mind sharing us your just the conclusion of like this talk, just for all of us before we close? Okay. Okay. Yeah. Astaghfirullah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Innal hamdalillah nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruh. Oh. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. Right, bismillah. Innal hamdalillah nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruh. Wa na'udzu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina. May yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu wa may yudlil fala hadiya lahu. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Thank you everyone for attending today's session. Inshallah, we will begin with first a recitation from our Hufaz, Hafiz Tariq Rahmat. So, whenever you're ready, yeah, inshallah, you can come in.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وإذا ما أنزلت سورة نظر بعضهم إلى بعض هل يراكم من أحد ثم انصرفوا صرف الله قلوبهم بأنهم قوم لا يفقهون. وإذا ما قوم لا يفقهون لقد جاءكم رسول من أنفسهم عزيز عليه ما عنتم حريص عليكم بالمؤمنين رؤوف رحيم. فإن تولوا فقل حسبي الله لا إله إلا هو عليه توكلت وهو